It's a brother
and a sister.
It's a brother and a sister.
Brother and a sister. Yo, brother. Yo, sister.
Yo, brother.
For this life I cannot change. In the hills. Hip hop in the lane.
I just burped right into the camera, into the mic,
M&M's.
into your face.
Sweet like candy cane. Drop the top. What you know about that?
Nothing.
We are rolling.
Do you need to send me anything?
I'm sending it to you now. Okay, let's try that again. We're sending notes to each other.
Yeah. This is how you cheat at school.
Yeah. Just you can copy my homework, but just make it look a bit different.
Do not copy. Sorry, I mean, do what you want.
Actually, that says a lot about my school career.
What?
Because no one had ever asked me, Khabane, can I copy your homework? Ever in my entire life at school.
But no one asked me if they could copy mine either.
Yeah, but you were. Welcome back to another episode of It's a Brother and a Sister podcast. My name is Khabane Molloy, and that is my sister, Pabi Molloy. And we're very happy to be here. We're very excited to be here. I love it over here.
Can I tell you? So I had a sports get together for my little one.
Yes.
And the sports moms were all together. And we were talking about like how much of a boundary do you have with others so you don't get taken advantage of.
Mm-hmm.
And you were just about to call me something. And I was that. I've always had those boundaries. Like I'm hardly ever taken advantage of. I can sense if you've got weird energy. And I've literally only made one error of judgment. One. And it's been like a tsunami in my life. So we were laughing about that. But the moms are like my favorite thing ever on sports get-together days. I love it. So shout out to the moms. Because where else are we meant to make friends? Where? We don't go to the pubs. We don't suck a habli.
Yeah. You guys don't go to the Apartheid museum just for fun or whatever. Or like Gold Reef.
Random.
No, that like you know what I mean. Like I always think if you're gonna go to Gold Reef City, just take a quick stop at Apartheid Museum.
I think everyone should go to the Apartheid Museum.
Just for vibes.
Today I was reading about the classification acts. So obviously in South Africa, we were all classified according to our race.
Yes.
And how every year there was a phase or a time or an opportunity for people to reclassify as a different race. So like in this one particular year, this woman was saying that like 640 colored people who were classified as colored in apartheid moved to be classified as white. And then there were people who were colored people, and this is apartheid classification, who decided to become black.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So the anything close to whiteness during apartheid, I can understand you're kind of having an elevation. But it's like you're going backwards in those times. But let me tell you why. It's because people were having interracial children.
Oh, yeah.
And so you can't all live together if you're not all the same race.
That's so interesting.
You can't all be together. So they preferred and chose to forego the privileges of that time so that they could be with their families. Isn't that amazing?
That's amazing. The first thing I thought was like, this is the long line of people with albinism just like testing their luck, Every year it's like, oh my God. The guy that like puts the stamp to approve is just like, really? Again, dude. Come on.
I mean, how much history did you do in school?
Not enough, clearly.
Our hair would still be the same. Anyway, so that's what I was thinking today. I was like, shout outs to the moms. Like, you make it really special. All those chats on the fields while we're waiting for our people to play and finish and practice.
It's nice to know because, like, obviously, as the kids, you're going to find new formed friendships on the field. So it's very interesting to know that your parents are also finding new formed friendships on the sidelines as well, which is like, that's really dope because then it's like you have a mom away from mom as well. you know,
What do you
where,
mean?
like, if for example, you forgot your cocks, right? And your mom is out of town this week, or she
Yeah.
has to go do something. So then you have the other mom that's just like,
We've
oh
got
no,
a
we
spare
have spare shoes in the
Yeah.
car, or whatever. And it's like you build that rapport and community. It's just like, yeah,
community.
no, that's very dope.
This
That's very
is the
important.
thing. It's
Mhm,
community.
mhm.
And it's solely based on who your kids are friends with.
Yes. Oh wait.
Solely based.
Okay.
I'm not going to go be friends randomly with someone my kid's not friends with.
Uh-huh.
It has happened. And you know her very well.
I try to be friends with one of
Yeah.
your kids'
That's
moms.
that's the same woman I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But our kids hated each other.
Damn.
So we were always like, can we do a play date? And they were both like, never. So we couldn't be friends.
Yeah, that made me really sad. Because
know.
in the whole time I was like, come on, little bro, just be friends with that kid.
Yeah.
Do you see how hot the mom was? Help a nigga out, bro.
She was
Stop being
beautiful.
selfish.
Yeah, but the kids don't give a damn.
It's whatever. It is
The world
what it
revolves around them.
Is you-
And rightly so.
Yeah, right, 1000% right.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Okay. Shout outs to all the chillers that are here. Ghost Ladies here. Mac is here. Soap Henduka's here. We got Neo here. We got man.
Checker!
We got Fat Checker here. Like, bro.
How was it?
Yeah, I know. I spoke about it a bit last week.
Yeah.
Nothing has changed in terms of my perception of the experience in terms of when I was there.
So from watching the podcast and chill podcast
Mhm.
to chilling on the podcast and chill podcast,
Yes.
you're saying
No.
what was the experience
So
like?
the people experiencing me having my experience on the podcast has not changed my experience of the podcast. I still thought Mac was fine. I still thought Saul was fine. I thought everyone was very nice. Everyone was very cool. It was a lovely vibe. To this day, my imposter syndrome is still kicking me where I'm just like, did that actually happen? Like, there's no way they actually invited me to the thing. And then when I was there, I was like, there's no way I'm actually recording on MacG. And then after all of that, I was like, even now, the video's been up for like, I think like 2 weeks, 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
And I'm still just like
2 weeks, 3 weeks. It
it-
was
two,
yes.
yeah. And in my head, I'm just like, there's no way that they still haven't deleted this yet. Like, that thing is like always hitting, and it's like almost 500K views now.
All right,
What are we
so,
talking about today?
This show. So I'm just Googling the actual like overview of it, right? So it's on Netflix. It is called Adolescence. And it is unbelievable. Okay?
Yes.
So there's this young boy,
Yes.
and it's not a spoiler because it happens in like the first 10 minutes of the show. You understand what happens with this young boy. He's about 13.
Yes.
And there's a young girl, similar age. They're in the same grade. And he murders her.
Okay, that was a spoiler.
No. Is that a spoiler for real?
Yeah, I know it was. Because you only find out later on in the episode that
No,
you met.
Okay, I spoiled one episode. There are 5 episodes.
4.
Do you want to do this?
My bad, gang.
No, that's fine. You could even take my notes if you
I
want to.
know. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say
Okay. So what we'll do is we'll bleep it out.
that.
We'll say there is a young boy and a young girl. Bleep it out in the first part.
Okay. So what actually, she's 100% right with everything that happened. In a no spoiler way, young 13-year-old boy, I think his name is.
We've spoiled it already. What are you trying to do?
Okay, my bad. But the point is, he gets arrested.
It sounds like we only watched the first 15 minutes of the show.
The point is, he gets arrested, and it slowly transpires as like there's a mystery afoot on a murder that's involved with him. And
I didn't see it that way at all.
And is it?
No, because within the first like 15 minutes, we knew exactly who had done it. So it wasn't about discovering or looking for who did it. I feel like we knew who did it from jump.
Like, it was like a what happened and why did it happen?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Do you want to start again?
Nah. Well, we can't. Should we? I don't think it's too late now. We've
Okay.
spoiled it, and your life sucks now. It's too late. Wah wah. Cry to your mother. You don't care. Swine. I hate everybody. I hate the world. In fact, I wish I was.
Sorry is the best thing I've heard in many years. You know, yesterday I was thinking about words that Grandpa used to say
Mm.
that I don't hear anymore. And when last did you hear nincompoop?
Why didn't the black and white cartoon is nincompoop?
Nincompoop.
Wasn't here, you bloody nincompoop.
Yes! You swine, you nincompoop.
Nah,
Okay.
That's hilarious.
So somehow we're gonna get through this because it's
Yeah.
very serious.
My bad.
Netflix, Adolescence,
Yeah.
watch it.
Definitely
We
watch
have
it.
no idea what happens in the beginning. No one knows who did what to anyone, but someone goes to jail.
Yes.
And then the story starts unraveling.
Yes.
And now we won't give away too many spoilers.
Yes.
But essentially, thematically, we can say it's about young boys, their exposure to what is masculinity, people who talk about masculinity on the internet, what their relationship with women looks like, with girls in their own grades even,
Mhm.
right? And maybe you can bring what is regarded as bullying sometimes,
Mhm.
and even what is a good dad, what is a bad dad.
Mhm.
There are lots of themes like that in this show.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to say your part.
Yeah, no, there was the overall show. Firstly, great show. Just a fantastic,
I think that's a spoiler.
No. The show is amazing. I love their shot selections. I
Yeah.
love how intense they make moments feel with these long shots where they don't do many cuts in the thing.
There are no cuts.
They are
Every episode is shot in one continuous stream. I think there's one cut at one point, but it's one continuous camera shot. And in the behind the scenes, you can see how they do it. They put things on drones. They have one cameraman at the top of the stairs, one at the bottom, and he lifts it up, and then the other guy lifts it even further. It's incredible. So you're right.
I just wanted to have a little smudge
Where?
on this side of you. It's okay. You'll cover yourself. But as she checks herself, I just think in terms of the cinematography, the direction, everything of that show is fantastic. I think even if you maybe don't necessarily want to watch a show with those kind of themes, I think just watching a show, because if you're in film and
You're an
stuff,
artist.
it's definitely could like just help you
And
change perspective.
every performance
Phenomenal.
is-
The kids,
Oh my gosh.
the kids in that show are like, wow.
And that main kid isn't an actor.
Is it?
He just was a kid at the school who was also he wasn't like a Hollywood kid, if that makes sense.
So much sense, because there was moments in the actual show where they fluffed. So there's like a moment you can hear that he's like, okay guys, I have a serious and he's continuing because, and it makes the actual show feel more real.
Yes.
Where it's like, this feels intense, because then you're like, is this actually happening? And of course not, it's a production, but you feel like, oh, this is obviously how it would actually happen, and it makes it just feel so much more real. So definitely go watch the show just because it's a good show, firstly.
Yeah.
Secondly, the themes that they hit are so intense to the point where I had to start questioning myself, because then I was like, what am I enabling? What am I allowing to like go under the rug or whatever? Because obviously we have a young kid in our life where, you know, they'll say a word or they're watching a YouTube video and a word that they
YouTube is actually banned in my house, so they're watching some other video unless you're secretly exposing them to YouTube.
But his friends are watching YouTube,
Yes,
and then now he wants to get involved or whatever. And then you'll hear them say "skibbity toilet" or whatever for the first time, and you I don't know what that is. And now it makes you go, no, be more as a parental figure in the house, be a little bit more attentive and
100%.
like I know it's a lot because like already as the parent you must be the breadwinner, you must do this, you must do that. I remember there was this one scene in the show where this girl, they were like, she was just spazzing out, and they
The
say,
best friend.
yeah, and they were like, you should go home. And then we called your mother, and the first thing she says is, "Ish, why did you call my mom? Now she's gonna be mad that she had to miss work."
Mm,
And it's like, I not only do I know that kid,
mm,
I like I hang out with a kid like that
mm.
all the time, where their parents are so focused on work and for whatever
Who do you
reason.
hang out with a kid? Which kid is
No,
this?
when I was a kid, obviously, when
Oh.
I don't hang out with kids. I made it very clear on Mac G's podcast. I don't fuck with kids like that, man. I hate all these little niggas. Except my niggas, I hate all these niggas. But with that being said, it really makes you realize like the little nuances that you are enabling
Mm.
in terms of problematic behavior.
Yep.
Because there was a scene at the school where the next episode is at the school, and we just going around the school, and I'm just seeing how problematic everything is. And
So the teacher tells the boys to tuck in their shirts, for example, and then they're very, very explicit about how they insult her.
yo,
And then in the next scene, they want to go break into the jail so that they can beat up this boy who's now been accused of something we can't tell you because it would apparently be a spoiler. So it shows, on the one hand, these young boys don't have any respect for a woman.
Mhm.
So they're not going to listen. They're not going to listen to you as your teacher. They're not going to listen. Like, who are you? But on the other hand, there's this posturing of being the defender. We're good guys because we'll beat up the guy who did the bad thing. So it's an imbalance.
Mm.
I don't know if a lot of young boys know what masculinity is, what their masculinity can do,
Mhm.
because it's confusing. Every
It's-
cartoon, every one of these comedy shows with like My Wife and Kids, and then the old 70s ones, but you know they all have exactly the same format, and their house all looks exactly the same. You come through the front door, there's a sofa, and then there's stairs going up. You
Yeah.
know those shows. But every one of those shows, the dad is like some bumbling fool, and the woman always has to catch him when he falls, fix the issue, make the meals, you know what I mean? And so I don't know then what we're seeing as the man's role or what is masculinity. And in one of the scenes, the psychologist or social worker who comes in to analyze him asks questions like that, like about your dad, about your granddad. What do you think their role and purpose? What's being a man to you?
Mhm. Yeah, it's difficult because then like it's so weird like in today's day and era where there's so many labels for things. It's like firstly who defines what a man is?
Yeah.
Like who's because then sometimes it's like it comes across that women must define what a man is. So
But I
then,
don't think so at all.
and which I also don't think so at
Yeah.
all. But there's like there's a lot of guys that base being a man off of what women want to date, not of who they want to be as people.
That's why the mask slips off after 3 months exactly.
Yeah. I always say, man, give your
Date.
be in a talking stage for 3
Yeah.
months. Because they can only fake for like about 3 months.
And
right?
now that they know this, maybe they're gonna push it to 4.5 months.
Nah,
Just wait.
crazy.
Because the day is gonna come, the mask falls.
Mm.
But the issue with this is then in this show, then there's two sets of dads.
Mm.
So there's the dad of the boy who allegedly, apparently,
You know, actually, what we'll do is we'll cut a promo at the beginning of this just
Yeah.
to be like, spoiler, alert for the
everywhere.
whole of
Yeah, it's
for the
littered
whole-
with spoilers.
Yeah.
But there's his dad,
Uh-huh.
and then
The cop.
the cop.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I had to watch a review to really like think of the cop's relationship with his son.
Yes.
So the dad of the accused is quite like an aggro guy.
Yeah, hella. He has temper. He has terrible anger issues.
Yeah, he's angry. And so you can see his wife walks around on eggshells around him,
Mm-hmm.
not to trigger him. And then you can see the kids also do. Even on his birthday, they're like quite careful and cautious. And they've got two kids. They've got the accused and they've got an older daughter. And I thought the most unbelievable scene was when the mom, I think the dad asked the mom, how did we end up with a son like this?
Mm.
Like we sent them to school. How did we end up with a son like this? And a daughter like this? She's quite together.
Mm-hmm.
And the mom's like, we raised them both exactly the same way. We raised them both exactly the same way. In this house, exactly the same way. So that continuous blame of it's the parents who did this, the parents did this, the parents, it's the parents' fault. Yes, absolutely. The environment that you create for your children is important.
Mm-hmm.
But her going, we raised them both the same way.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I don't know, maybe there's a leaning towards some sort of violent behavior from one person, or the daughter's quite older. So it's like you and me. Technology wasn't such a big thing when I was growing up. It
Yeah.
was just coming in.
Mm-hmm.
You are part of the iPad generation.
Yeah, okay.
Is it the iPad generation?
I don't know if it's my generation or the generation younger than me, but I do get what you're saying.
Maybe it's the cell phone generation.
Yeah, I think so.
The Wi-Fi router generation.
For me, it's always weird. For me, it's always weird because the first phones that like everyone was starting to get phones, and I felt like, it was overwhelming, was Blackberries. And
You never had a BlackBerry.
I never had a BlackBerry. So sometimes when people tell me that you guys are the generation that grew up on phones, I'm like, maybe I was the generation that grew up around people that grew up around phones, but like I didn't have
But
a
when
phone.
did you have your first phone?
When I was 15.
Yeah.
So it was like, it took a while, and a lot of those ideas and themes or whatever made me have to look back at my upbringing and just think, have you ever thought your life was the norm until you hang around people that make you realize, oh, this is not normal?
Yeah.
Because that's how I felt when I was watching that show. Because there was a lot of things that I wasn't like picking up on until there was something so like out of pocket. Because the overall show was becoming a little bit boring to me in that second episode. Because I was like, yeah, that's just how schools are supposed to. That's how schools are.
Okay.
And then someone said something really out of pocket, which made me rewind the episode and think, have I been missing little new like things that people have been doing at the show? And I was like, oh, a child shouldn't be acting like that. A child shouldn't be doing this. But it's because I also went to a primary school where we were doing some of those things.
Uh-huh.
So then I was like, I'm probably, there's a lot of things that I'm sweeping under the rug or not necessarily
Thinking are normal.
like, I'm just like, I'm allowing to just slide because that's how I was brought up.
Yeah.
Like the first incidents of drugs and smoking or whatever for me was when I was in primary school.
Sure.
And as hectic as that sounds, I remember when I got to high school thinking that was the norm. Because then when I started talking to other kids from other primary schools, when we were going to the new high school, and then I'm telling them my primary school words. I'm telling them my primary school
Have
stories.
you smoked anything today?
Not yet. I'm telling them my primary school stories, and the other kids are like, bro, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's hardcore.
What are you saying?
Yeah.
You did this and this. And I'm like, what did you guys do? And he's like, we went to school to learn. I'm like, oh.
So that's fascinating to me, right? And it's
Mhm.
fascinating to me that you would say stuff like that because my primary school experience was very sanitized.
Uh-huh.
I'm just always a rule breaker. Naturally, I want to be on the absolute edge of the rule.
Mhm.
And so obviously we're gonna band together. So we had a little gang,
Mhm.
but we weren't smoking. We weren't like that was out of pocket stuff.
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right. And to recognize that, I'm sure made you feel some kind of way.
It did. It made me feel very guilty. Because of how I allowed for a lot of bullshit not only to happen to me, but to other people around me, thinking this is just the norm.
Wow.
And I talk a lot with my one best friend Tapelo about, if we went back in time, the one thing we'd do differently is protect each other at all times. Because there's times where we'd see like the girls over there are calling him an idiot, or they're calling me weird or gay or whatever. And we just like watch it happen, or just giggle in the back, or whatever, just let it happen.
And you were boys
And
already.
we're still
eh?
boys,
Yeah.
but it's just like, because even when the one dude, the one main kid is talking about his friend, he's like, yeah, because he is a fucking idiot, like he's stupid or whatever. And then you can hear how the people that are supposed to be your tight crew, and you dismiss them and you treat them terribly. Of course, now they don't feel like there's no real companionship. There's no real, like, the idea of brotherhood isn't supposed to just be there when it's time to protect you when you're gonna go to jail. It's also supposed to be there when, like, with those small things.
Mm.
Because you imagine your friends, he's getting cyberbullied in the show.
Mm.
And imagine your own friends are liking the cyberbullying that's happening towards you, instead of standing up for you.
So that's what I want to talk about next,
Mm.
because the bullying that's brought into the show
Mhm.
is a very interesting type of bullying, right? So I know the stories that you talk about how girls were, and how in particular you had a certain kind of image and relationship with girls in
Yeah.
school, right?
They didn't like me.
Excuse.
It's okay.
But look at your life now.
Still don't like me.
Oh.
No, I'm
And and an incident happens where a girl's nudes are leaked.
Yes.
Spoiler, spoiler, spoiler. And he says,
She's flat.
yes, but he says, I thought because now she's weak, she'll give me a chance. So I invited her to the school
Dance.
fair or dance, yeah. And when she didn't accept him, because now she's cyberbullied, so she's dirty. She's been called all the things in the cyberbullying, so she's all of those things.
Mm.
And he thinks she's weak now, I can get in there. And
Mm.
she still says no. He can't believe it.
Fathom.
Like, he can't believe it.
Yeah.
So now he feels that he's being bullied. He feels like he's being bullied because he's been rejected by this girl.
Mm-hmm.
So that idea of, but who's taught you that you are entitled to any girl you want? Like, why?
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
I feel like, firstly, the conversation around courtship should be had in the house.
Right.
And it's weird, like, we all come from sex, but then none of us can actually talk about these things with our kids. It's like, but we all, like, it's an important conversation to have, because eventually you're gonna start liking girls, boys, or theys and thems, and you're gonna have to address the fact that, like, hey, dude, if you want a partner, this is how you go about it. And if it
Right.
doesn't work, you also need to, I think also that is like the idea of the exemption from failure, where it's like, there's no such thing. If it's not working out for you, try harder. Like, dog, if she says no, it's just a no.
It's no.
And also, the no doesn't mean that you're not worth anything.
Mm.
It just means she doesn't want you. And that's okay. Like, you'll keep moving, you'll keep pushing.
There'll be others.
Yeah. I remember for my grade 7 farewell, I asked 4 girls at my school if they would go out with me. They all said no, and I felt so horrible.
Aw.
And I looked back at it all, and I was like, but also, why was I asking them? because we never spoke, we never hung out. Those girls and I, we didn't have. It was just the social pressure of it all,
Having a date.
having a date to
Yeah.
the thing, and I had a good time at my farewell. But I just remember there was always a social pressure of like, I must have a girlfriend. And it's like, why do you want these things? Is it because you feel the pressure there?
But there is a big pressure.
Yeah. Also, I
And I think that part is normal. I think, I'm not a psychologist, but I think the part where you start noticing girls, you start noticing boys, you start having crushes, you want to hang out, then there's like a dance and you've got to have a date. I think those things are normal, but I think the way that we now see youngsters going about it, like, send me nudes and then I can go with you. Like, why are 13-year-olds doing that?
you see, even that, for example, it was that happened in my primary school.
Really?
Yeah, I wasn't like shocked about it. And I only started feeling shocked about
Where
it.
the hell did my mother send you to school?
But I don't think it's a my school thing. I think it's a lot of schools do this.
It's a generation.
It's a generation of kids. So that's why there's things where when the therapist in the one scene is like, do you think it's okay for 13-year-olds to be sending pictures like that or to be liking girls this and that? And it's like, is it not? Like,
Even for you in your mind watching
in my mind, because I'm like, I feel like there's a level of people distance themselves from kids so much that they want to start forgetting how they used to think as kids. And I'm like, no, dude, kids are really smart. Also, they know a lot more than we think.
Yes.
And I hate the fact that sometimes people like want to control aspects about a kid. Like, a thing that kept irritating me is the dad is just swearing a lot. And then
the perpetrator's
the
dad.
perpetrator's dad is swearing. And then every time the daughter swears, he goes, language.
Yes.
And it's like, my brother, where do you think it
Yeah.
you can't pretend that something doesn't exist and it constantly exists because you bring it into the house. Because then when things that you don't want in the house are happening, your kids aren't going to talk to you about it. Then like, there's not going to be a conversation around it. And then now it's going to be a thing that your kid is going to feel ashamed to have these thoughts, have these feelings. So they're not going to know how to behave.
You're so right, because I think we do that as parents. Like, we'll slip up an F word here or an SH word here and then call our kids to order.
Yeah.
Or we watch something that's R-rated and they happen to see it and then we call our kids to order. Also, yes, you're right. We don't remember that we had surging hormones. I had a crush on everybody at one point.
Yes.
And my crushes were so deep. Like, I would cry out of loving
She's for the streets.
these crushes. Like, I'd make up songs for them.
Damn.
Yo,
Love a girl for real.
a crush. And this is now before high school. So that's
Primary school.
standard 3, standard 4. So what is that?
Grade 7.
7, grade
6.
6, grade 5. That's young.
Yeah.
So yes, you're right.
Yeah, I remember like even going on camps and
Yeah.
just thinking like, dang, how can we get to the girls' dorm?
Yeah.
And we didn't do it, but then there's a lot of things where it's like these social pressures where you're like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
And when I look back at it, I'm like, why did I do that? I wish I didn't do that. And I remember in grade 7, there was a day where they literally called the entire, because they were also like, this is not how the school is supposed to be.
Right.
There's something wrong here. And I applaud the school a lot because they noticed there was something weird. Because it's not, I think the following years, none of that stuff's happened.
Really?
Well, I'd like to think that.
So, and also, I'm sure it wasn't just one group or just one kid.
No.
This was now
It was the whole
grade.
It was the whole grade. So they called the entire grade to the science labs. And they literally said,
That's punishment, man.
yes.
Sorry.
We're going to learn chemistry. one way or another.
Dissect this frog.
Proceeds to put on a glove. It was like we were so confused because then everyone's just making jokes, whatever. Now I'm gonna expose a story about me.
You don't
So,
have to.
but I think it's good. I think I
Okay.
should actually expose it because it's important, and also it's like it makes you realize I guess the general zeitgeist in the overall thought that kids were having of
Okay.
like the social pressures. So I did a fucked up thing when I was in primary school, and I brought a bong to school. And when I did that, I was trying to be cool for the other kids because all the other kids were saying they used to smoke and used to do this. So I thought the way to get in with the cool kids is to also say I smoke or whatever. And of course they didn't believe me and stuff. Also, I used to get made fun of a lot for being skinny. So I said I smoke a lot of weed. That's why I'm skinny and blah 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 blah.
What in the Wiz Khalifa?
And Wiz Khalifa at the time was the most popping rapper.
Right.
You know, Weed and Boys, all of that stuff. I remember I even tried to have the same laugh as Wiz Khalifa at school. So then I would go whenever people laughed. It was pathetic.
But I understand where it's from. I
Yeah.
get it.
That being said, doesn't justify what I did. I brought a bong to school. And I remember they literally said every grade 7 to the science labs now. And immediately I was like, something's wrong. Like, I don't know. Like, my internal something just told me, go to your locker, because the bong was still in my locker. Quickly, just ask the teacher to go to the bathroom, go to your locker, get it out of there, and just make a plan. So I was like, all right, cool. I went to my locker, sprinted, and I took the bong, and I just remember throwing it in bushes, like outside of the school.
Okay.
And then I went to the science lab.
labs.
And then I sat there, and suddenly the conversation started coming out. This one has this one's nudes. This one was kissing this one at this point. There's this block over here and this block over there, and these ones were kissing these ones. All of these stories were coming out, and I'm like, yo, I'm fine. No girl likes me. So kissing stories, I'm fine. Feel confident. And then they start talking about, oh, and boys have been saying that they're smoking now. Oh, and boys have been doing this, and and then all of these social pressures started coming out, and then I'm like, it's only a matter of time before they say my name.
Yeah.
Boom, they say my name, and I was just like, fuck. And also at that point, they're asking the head girl to come and escort us to our lockers to go fetch things. So boys had to go bring their phones because they were bringing their phones to school, and then they showed, this is what I have on my phone. These pictures leaked here. These girls kissing this one, this boy here. These are the texts. Everything was exposed. And if they found out that I had contraband at school, I think I would have been.
You would have been expelled.
Yeah. So I said,
for that level of contraband at that level of school.
Yeah.
You would have been expelled.
Yeah. So immediately I was like, I don't have that. I absolutely don't. Like, a part of me was chuffed, but another part of me was like, I'm still screwed because half the grade has all agreed Khabane
did this thing. So
like, it's my word against everyone's.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a terrible experience. But also, I just remember all of the kids were crying, thinking, yo, we fucked up and we shouldn't have done that stuff. And like, we were all just looking at each other like, actually, what we're doing is wrong. Like, we are doing this because we're trying to impress each other. And then we're looking at each other like, you're an idiot for what you did.
Sure.
I'm an idiot for what I did. And we were all just so ashamed, realizing like, oh, what we were doing was way ahead of its time. What we were doing, not way ahead of its time, but like, we were kids.
You were kids.
Like,
I think that's, obviously I know your life, so I know the story. But the way you've just narrated how the classes all came together and that realization, I've never heard that part of the story before. That realization, because it's almost as if you tell somebody what to do, that's one thing. But if you have them come to that realization themselves, that is stuck with you. Now you're an adult man. It has stuck with you.
Yeah. And that realization also because the people that snitched on me
Sure.
were the people I was trying to impress.
Yeah.
And it
So look at that lesson.
and that always made me realize, like, firstly, Khabani, if you're ever gonna do something, do it because you want to do it.
Yeah.
Never because you're trying to impress people. And then secondly, and most importantly, bro, these people, like, your friends are your friends. Make sure you are very careful around the people that you choose to hang out with. Because I remember my actual friend group was the only group of people that were not in any of the stories in any way. It was Rupert, Tapelo, Sipo, but
Pokemon lovers.
the people that used to
Yeah.
get bullied with me
Yes.
were the only people that were not in any story. And
Explain why I'm saying Pokemon.
Pokemon, because we used to play a lot of card games in primary
Yeah.
school, and we always used to get made fun of it.
And anime and
And
drawing. Yeah.
Ironically, Pokemon was the one game we didn't play, but everyone kept calling us the Pokemons.
Yeah.
So it was a problem.
But I mean, that is tremendous because that's as I say, that's a life lesson you are never going to forget.
Ever.
That.
And I was like really behaved in high school to the point where other guys in the high school were like, "Dog, can we borrow your pee?" And I was just like, "Yo, y'all niggas are wild." But yeah, no, it's that entire show really had me questioning myself a lot of the way.
That is amazing.
Because also just the idea of, you were asking, where does this come from? Like, where do these themes and ideas of masculinity and guys feel like they are owed women's bodies, and if the girl says no, it's a form of like rejection, is a form of bullying. And I remember it's like, did I go on another long story tangent?
I just love listening to you.
Okay, so my favorite cartoon show is Adventure Time. And I love that show a lot. And I remember there was an episode where Finn the human, the main character, the boy that we've been following along the story, he's the same age as me. While growing up, in the show, every time there was new episodes coming out, he was always the similar age to me.
Okay.
So I was always like following his story, like, yo, Finn's life is my life. And he had a lot of like potential love interests in the show. And with most shows, as soon as you, like, the main girl comes in, you're already like, that will be my girlfriend.
Right.
And that's how it goes. Like, no matter what happens, if there's a boy character and a girl character, at some point, they are going to be dating by the end of the show.
Okay.
And Finn ended up with nobody. And that was already just profound to me. But something in particular that like was extremely like crazy was he had a girlfriend at a point in the show named Flame Princess. And he did something really messed up to her, which made her break up with him. Now, normally when a breakup happens, we all know it's temporary in kids' cartoons because there's no such thing as an actual breakup or a girl just like...
Well, he's going to do something.
Yeah.
Like a grand gesture, or a gaslighting, or a new lie. But he's going to do something.
And she will forgive him.
That we're going to perceive as, but shit, man, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
And then she'll take him back.
Yes. And because that's how it has to happen.
Yeah,
that's the story, you know.
And he's the protagonist.
The Beast, Beauty and the Beast, he's going to be an asshole throughout the entire show. And then suddenly... he's going to be loved at the end because, you know, I'm good now, you know? I'm the good guy. I like being a good guy. That's how it happens in every show. So watching Finn first break up with this girl, and then a couple months later, there's a new episode that comes out. And you can see he's like, yeah, I've been working on myself. You know, I'm a better man now. Yeah, you know, sorry about what happened. And like, yeah, but like, I'm dope now. And, you know, like, look, you know, check me out. And she's just like, dude, I'm only hanging out with you because I need your help to just sort something out. But in terms of us ever getting together, no. Like, what you did was whack. No. Which to me, mind blown. I was like, but you're supposed to suck his dick. Like, what are you doing? That's not how the story goes. You're supposed to be begging for him right now.
Right.
So but I wasn't like upset about it. I was like,
yes.
Huh. crazy. You actually have to deal with the consequences of your action. And sorry doesn't necessarily mean that everyone will just forgive you. And that was like a wild revelation. And also a wild thing to see in a kid's cartoon because I had barely ever seen that in a kid's cartoon.
And they never got back together.
They never got back together.
And he never ended up with a lifetime girlfriend, partner necessarily in that episode, in those episodes.
Apparently, they might be making new episodes,
Okay.
so maybe something could happen. But from what I've seen, no,
Yes.
he never had a full-time life partner. But something that also really interested me was how the conclusion of their relationship was.
Yeah.
Because there's another episode
Yeah.
that comes out, and Finn comes with genuine remorse this time, with not hey, check me out, I'm hot now, but with a hey, I just want to let you know I'm sorry about everything that I did. I know I really hurt you, and I'm going to admit something, which is the first time I said I'm sorry, I didn't mean it because I didn't know what I actually did. I didn't think what I did was wrong, and I just wanted you back because I thought, I'm the hero, I should have you back. And I see now I really hurt you, and I'm really sorry. And also that was one of the first like genuine apologies that like proper, like I acknowledge what I've done. I don't expect immediate forgiveness, but I just want to acknowledge I've hurt you. I'm sorry. I'll never do it again. And
Changed behavior.
I've changed my behavior.
Yeah.
And he did. And she's like, thank you for seeing me. Thank you for acknowledging that. And I really appreciate that. And they ended up being friends. And throughout the entire series, there was never a second will they, won't they. But it was we can just be friends and it's okay.
Which brings me back to the dads on this Adolescence show because...
Hi, I'm Khabanes Moloi, and I'm one half of the It's a Brother and a Sister podcast. And I'm just here to warn you that Bobby has no respect for you guys in terms of how you guys appreciate spoilers or not, but I do. So I just thought I should let you guys know. Spoiler warning for the TV show Adolescence. There's a lot of spoilers in this episode. So I think...
You mostly do the spoiling.
What do you mean? Not bad. Jeez. Can't have a moment to myself. Anyway, you can go watch the episode. Go watch Adolescence first and then come back to this episode. It's a pretty good show. And this is an even greater podcast. We'll see you in a bit.
Had the screamy, sweary, but he's in the home dad seen that, yes, it's like I'm a bit of a tyrant. I should change my behavior. And all of the kids had seen that you can go from this to this. And it requires changed behavior. But it's possible. I mean, that's a tremendous life lesson, right? So you can learn how to overcome it. And then the other dad who was never there.
Black one.
And he... Did you have to say it like that?
Because, I mean, they didn't...
I was going to say the policeman or the one with tiny
dog.
afro.
Nah, bro.
Okay, Papazona then.
They know what they know what they were doing.
But it was in the way that he did it, right? So it was in the way that like his son had a sense that I only have value to you if I am good at my academics or good at that or good at, but I know you need to go to work. Your time is at work. You don't have time for me. That was also a very interesting space to be, because again, he could have at any point, and that time when they go to the Chinese shop to get chips at the end, maybe is the moment where he changes his behavior. And then you see some real like recourse in the thing and being able to then mend your relationships, which is a very beautiful thing.
Crazy. Also, I'm not trying to share these stories to like expose anything or like to make light of these things. I think it's really important to share these stories because to this day, I feel kind of crazy about my experience in primary school.
That particular one.
Yes. A lot of things. I'm just sharing this one story, but there was a lot of things that happened. And I'm always like, I was a kid and it shouldn't have happened, but it did. And it's weird because then when I hear certain stories, like the adolescence thing, I'm not surprised, but everyone else is.
Right.
And
Do you
and
think we really are surprised? Because the more you're talking, I'm even thinking about from a girl's point of view,
Mhm.
right? Like, if I'm so desperate for XYZ to have a crush back on me, which I was like pathetic. Like, I was, yeah, I was not cool.
Yeah.
And not cool with it either. Like, I wrote boys letters saying, "Do you like me?" and then with the box, yes or no.
and they put their own box there that said "fuck no." Ew. Now they have a paragraph underneath the thing. It's like, what made you think you, of all people, Jessica,
So
get out of
school's
here.
not the end all and be all. You're gonna grow up and you're gonna get hotter, and it's gonna be okay. But the main point I'm trying to make is that that happens for girls as well. So in the culture that we were in,
Yes.
we weren't in the nudes culture,
Mhm.
but in the culture that you were in, and it's not to blame anyone, but what was happening in society, it was sex tapes were dropping.
Yeah.
Everyone had nudes. And I mean, like, the biggest stars had nudes. The people that you followed who were
The
musicians,
tabloids,
like,
yeah.
the timeline matches. So,
Yes.
of course, we're going to do the things that are in the fashion of the time. And so that's why it's so frightening, because of the fashion of this time and what's happening in this time. If you're raising an alpha gen, you know, like, we need to be wide awake.
Yeah. You know, I always find it so interesting that I look at some of your old matric photos and I'm like, why did everyone have a blonde buzz cut, even the black boys? And and then it's like, oh, because Eminem was like the biggest artist at the time. And then also at that time, he had only released the Slim Shady LP. So then if that's their subject matter that they're listening to, it's like, oh yeah, of course.
Where are our heads at?
Where are your guys' heads at? Because that was the music. It was who's the people? The Noogie.
Oh, Limp Bizkit.
Limp Bizkit. And then I remember seeing that that documentary about
Woodstock.
Woodstock
Yeah.
Woodstock 99.
Yeah.
And just imagining you, because what, you were in grade 11 at the time.
Maybe, I don't remember. Oh, 99. I
No,
matriculated in 01.
grade 10. So grade 10.
Yeah.
And then it's like, if you are in grade 10 and the American culture is doing that
Yes.
kind of stuff, of course it translated here. Of course it came
Yeah.
this side. And
Yeah.
definitely a lot of the things that were happening there had to.
But I was scared of sex. Like, a lot of my friends in high school were
I
like
wasn't.
having it. I was like, this thing is going to give you diseases. You're going to be pregnant. You're going to drop out. I was so scared of it.
Which is so wild.
Why? Well, first of all, the people weren't replying yes to my message. I didn't have many options.
No, but I not you being scared of sex. Sorry, I was thinking beyond, like, now.
Yeah.
Gen Z's having sex less than ever any other
Yes.
generation.
Yes.
And yet I'm always just like so concerned about like how we perceive it. Like the idea of AIDS and HIV, like, why are people not having sex? Because
Now.
because it's
Because
like
you're all staying at home and messaging each other. And you all have those big headphones with the thing that goes like this, and you play the thing on the computer, and that's how you hang out with your friends.
True.
I don't think I'm wrong.
Yeah, no. So that's why I'm like, I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm thinking I don't know if people are scared of STDs as much as they are
I
just
don't know about that
not going
either.
out as much.
I don't know about that either. But I wanted to make sure that I mentioned that because it is so much normalized. You know how hard it is to play a playlist of music with a small kid around? It's so hard.
Especially one that you enjoy.
Yeah, there's no music that won't shit, bitch, fuck, motherfucker. There's no music.
Mm.
Do you know how hard it is to watch a show? Any TV show. Name a network.
That's fire.
Yeah.
That has a high MDMB rating and Rotten Tomatoes rating and so and so. And
Even
so.
this, Adolescence, I won't let my kid watch.
Yeah. No.
It's too advanced for him. He's
Yeah.
too small.
But maybe
later he can watch it.
Yeah.
I think it's important for him to watch it later.
I also just want people to understand, like, bro, your kid isn't necessarily fucked. You
Oh.
know?
Are we painting a very dark picture?
No, I'm saying, like, there's parents that aren't acknowledging their kids.
Yeah.
In the sense that all of that stuff, there's a level of, how did he become like this? Hey, there's no way. But then you also have a household where it's like language. It's like if your kid can't say fuck in the house.
Where are they going to say fuck?
Where are they going to be honest? Because these kids are talking to each other.
Yeah.
And they're not saying, hey, I would like to have intercourse with so-and-so. I want to fuck
emojis.
I want to fuck so-and-so. That's what they're saying. And
now the emojis.
Yeah, they're putting
so that's
people.
the next PhD I have to study because I just knew about the aubergine, the eggplant,
the egg.
and a peach.
Oh yeah, those ones I know too.
But now there are other things.
Dynamite and 80-20.
What is that?
It's 80% of women want 20% of men.
Oh yes.
And I didn't know about that till I watched the show.
Yes.
And then yes, also it's like there's levels to it because it's like people are gonna say it's the Andrew Tates that's the problem and all of this.
He does get mentioned in the show.
He does get mentioned in the show, but it's like if there is no foundation for a child to look up to anybody, they are going to go to the corners of the internet that are inviting them. Andrew Tates have always existed. Even back when I watched some of like the old content, like the Hustlers, like playbook, they were like playbook books about how to play girls and stuff. And it's like,
think like a man, act like a woman.
Like there's always been these kind of things, but it wasn't maybe also firstly as accessible. And secondly, I really think it's crazy that us as parents or us as adult figures are making it seem like the kids are crazy or broken or weird. And it's like you doing that only makes it harder for them to talk to you about these things.
But this is a big thing that you've broken down in this conversation for me because it's about connection. It's about, of course, knowing what the trends are, what's going on, but not coming at it from a top-down approach.
Yes.
You've got to, when they're toddlers, they tell you that you've got to crouch down to their level because then you're not a foreboding force. You can see them eye to eye, you can talk to them. And it's the same thing, I think, with adolescence. But I don't necessarily know if you can start at age 14 and suddenly you're like, now I must do the adolescence plan. I think all their lives have got to know that they can come and tell you if so-and-so did something strange to them or that they didn't like, they can come and tell you.
Also, I think it's really important to have these conversations without the idea of race being involved.
Race?
Yeah, because there's also a level of like black parents wouldn't allow that. Like that sounds like some white people shit to be cool with your mom.
Okay, wait. Sorry. What are you saying?
So a lot of people now, if when I tell people, talk to your parents about this thing that you're going through.
Yes.
It's like, that sounds like some white people shit.
Ah, okay.
And it's like I
so
don't
in
have
black homes, there isn't that openness.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think that is a huge problem. And I'm not talking to the parents that have already decided that my children mustn't tell me anything.
Yeah.
They must pretend that periods don't exist. They must pretend that be growing up doesn't exist. I'll kiss my husband only on the wedding day. And those parents, it's done for you. You've decided that your kid is an angel. So the day they do something demonic, you'll be very disappointed. But to the parents that
demonic.
My bad. To the parents.
Move it actually because it's on a light. I'm scared it'll burn. Yeah.
And this is like my favorite. This is like my favorite one right now.
Really?
Yeah.
That's someone's spirit that just came to say, yes, you are right. Ooh.
Okay, cool.
Okay, but are you saying that? Okay, so finish your point.
So I'm just saying to the parents that like really want to make sure that their kids grow up well and they can be comfortable coming to you and talking to you about things that they're going through. They needs to like stop using blackness as an excuse to not understand your kids.
Okay.
You know, that's just
I will say you're right,
Mm.
but I will also say the tide is turning a lot.
And how so?
Because in what I do, I speak to parenting coaches
Yes.
who are Black.
Yes.
I speak to parenting experts who are
Mhm.
Black. I
Okay.
speak to a lot of parents themselves
Mm.
who are going through these things and have learned to speak to So I think the tide, it's still a stereotype. And I
Yes.
think maybe there's more, of the stereotype than less.
Mhm.
But I think the tide there is turning.
For sure. Like
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, there's definitely progress. The things are getting better.
And millennial parents are stressed out because we are always thinking about this stuff.
Yeah. I'm not saying be friends with your kids. But sometimes your kids need to figure out a way to like, because they're gonna learn about this stuff eventually, and you want to make them learn about this stuff through Andrew Tate or through you.
Yeah.
So those are your options. Make good decisions.
But I also want to shout you out because, and we don't necessarily have nuclear families anymore, right? And I don't think that was even an African construct in the first place. That came from
Definitely
overseas
not.
on a ship. We come from cultures of community and, that we all know each other and we all raise each other's children. Fine. But the way you take your job as an uncle so seriously is so commendable. And I'm so grateful for you.
Mhm.
And Auntie took her job auntieing me so
Very seriously.
seriously. And, grannies and, apart from the main two parents, all of the parents and the cousins and to make sure that we focus and we have a specific vision to look after these young people is exactly what we need. So
Yeah.
shout out to you and shout out to all the aunties and uncles who are doing the right thing.
Yeah. And shout outs to all the parents that just want the best for their kids and, try and prove it time and time again.
Yeah.
So shout out to you.
Shout outs.
Shout outs,
Lots of
all the
shout
shout outs.
outs.
Shout outs, Mac G. Shout outs, Sol
to the
Penduka.
chillers.
Shout outs to the chillers.
Fact checker.
Shout outs to the fact checkers.
Yeah.
Shout outs, my mama.
Oh, that's
shout-
my mommy too.
Shout outs, the Comics Trace Awards. Shout outs that one homeless guy on the street there that does the things. Shout outs the people that wash cars. Shout outs. I just want to shout out to everybody.
But I want to say shout outs to the people who made this show.
Yes.
Because it's really, really good.
Yes.
Please watch it, even if you don't have a boy child, because there's also that thing like, how do you raise a girl child? How do you raise a boy child? You're just raising a child. Of course, there are different things that are going to come up because they're boys and girls, but just watch it if you're a parent. Watch it, try and catch it, because this is an alpha gen kid. This is a very, very young kid. And just, let's try everything we can. Let's never get to the end and go, oh, but I could have still. Oh, Ngabeki. Let's try and do and enact everything we can.
Yeah.
And shout out to the kids.
Yeah, shout out to the kids. If you were born after the World Cup, shout out to you, man. That's so funny. To be born after the World Cup.
Imagine how hilarious you are to me.
Yeah, I was born after 9/11. One of the greatest times to be alive.
Okay,
Sorry,
listen,
I'm
we've got to go.
I'm going to go now. My name's Khabane Moloi. That's Babi Moloi. And this is a brother and a sister podcast. We appreciate your time,
We
energy,
love
and
you.
effort. Love you. Bye. That was a good time.